Good morning, CLC.
Morning.
I invite everybody right now just to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath, breathing in cool, calming oxygen. And as you breathe out all stress and tension. Take another nice, big breath, filling your lungs. And as you exhale all stress and anxiety, all worries and doubts, just let them go for now. And as you settle into this moment with us, allow your body to relax and allow your mind to be here now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin this inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging this higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of this infinite presence, I simply speak these words: I surrender.
I surrender.
Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all of my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive.
I forgive.
Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only positive, constructive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose.
I choose.
I now center upon that one special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing that idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept, knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me. I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release.
I release.
Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me. This can be a friend, a family member, a teacher or mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in the room with me this morning. I turn toward that image in my mind's eye and say, I'm grateful for the good in your life.
I'm grateful for the good in your life.
Now I open my eyes, turn to the world around me, and joyfully speak to anyone physically present in the room or virtually on this broadcast, and share in confidence and gratitude in saying, I'm grateful for the good in your lives.
Well, the first test will be to see, oh, did I actually turn my mic on? Now I'm going to rearrange the stage,
Okay.
and I'm going to tell you, I loved the song, Jeffrey. There's only one part about that I disagree with. I'm not on this journey by myself.
Yeah.
And I will tell you why. Because this part has absolutely nothing to do with what I came here to talk about, and yet everything to do with what I came to talk about.
There. Perfect.
Because there's no way I could have done this by myself.
No.
If you were here early enough, you saw my husband find this. I'm visual. I know Jesse's not, but I'm very visual, so I intend to write on it a little bit. You saw Sean come in with the flip board because dry erase markers. Oh, who knew? Because the last time that got used was the last time I used it, and that's been 4 or 5 years, maybe. And then I was 3/4 of the way here when I happened to glance at my card display, and there was a red line through the phone icon. You know what that means? I left my phone at home. I thought, I'll just plug it in for a few minutes, make sure it's fully charged. Guess where it still is? Plugged in at home. Is that a problem? Maybe. The one quote that I wanted to use from Ernest Holmes was screenshotted on that phone. Unfortunately, the page number, which I do have written down in my notes, is for the old textbook. Could we lay our hands on an old textbook? No. So do I. I have one at home. David, Reverend David back there, has it on, he has the Science of Mind textbook on his phone. Yep. Did you know there's an app for that. You could download the Science of Mind textbook on your phone. Have it all the time. Have I done it yet? But it wouldn't have done me any good because my phone's at home. And then he has a pass lock on his phone. Am I going to remember it halfway through this talk? Probably not. So I was like, screenshot it. Send it to my husband. So, how many people have already helped me this morning? Oh my goodness. What's in an E? What on earth could I possibly be talking about? What's in an E? It was inspired by a talk Jesse gave a couple of weeks ago where he talked about an E and how you could slice it down to the molecular level, and everything that created that E is in there. Because if you look at DNA, that's exactly the way DNA works. One single molecule of DNA has everything it needs to rebuild you. That's really cool, right? And I was like, what's in an E? Oh, what's in an E? Now, I will show you what I'm talking about, what's in an E. We'll see if this works. And I will go ahead and tell you spelling is not one of my gifts. So when I misspell things, forgive me, please. It's blue. Awful. Do you see what E does to that word? Yes, I know it needs another L. Awe, fill. Awe, full of awe. Because originally, that was the meaning of awful. And then somewhere along the line, we lost the E. And now it has a completely different meaning. Do you know how many E words there are in the English language? This is not a quiz. I don't know. I didn't Google it. I'm sure I could have, but I didn't. But think about some of the E words that we have. I have a list, but feel free to add to it. Oh, where did I put them? E words. Embody, emulate, emotion. We spend a lot of time in Science of Mind talking about emotion. Enjoy, energy, environment. Can't read my own handwriting. Enthusiasm, enlightenment, evidence, evolve, examine, example, expand, experiment, evaluate, because I know you're all sitting there right now evaluating me. Oh, no, evaluation is a good word. Judgment's the scary one.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Okay, so I just listed a whole bunch of E words. I'm not going to talk about all of them. They may crop back up in the talk. I've limited myself to 3 E words. So let's start with expectation. Because we talk about expectation a lot. Expectation is a strong belief that something will happen. But expectation is a double-edged sword. I actually decided to break it down into 3, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? Because when you think about expectation, one of the first things that I wrote down when I was rewriting my notes for the 4th time, which thankfully I remembered those, is expecting mothers. Okay? That's a good word, right? You're expecting a new life to come into the world. And yet we've seen gender reveal parties go so wrong. So, when we do treatments, we have expectations. We are expecting things to happen from the treatment, okay? Oh, and here's another E word that's going to crop back up, emotion. Because we line up the emotion. I'm betting you want me to stand still, don't you? No. We also have expectations of each other, okay? Now, here's where expectations can go a little sideways when we don't communicate those expectations. When you get a job, you walk in there early in the process and they say, these are your expectations. These are what we expect you to do. And if you do not do these, you can expect to be fired. I mean, that's the last resort, but you know what I mean. But what if you're in a relationship and you had some troubled relationships in the past? And so you walk into this new relationship. What are you expecting? most of the time we're expecting, well, it's going to go the same way as it did last time. So we're bordering on, okay. Can we leave expectations at the door? Maybe. We are human beings. Yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But I just said we can use expectations for good, right? So one thing we need to do is, one, do our own spiritual work. That'll come back up. And two, weed out our expectations. It is spiritual work to weed out our expectations. Okay? And three, we can communicate our expectations. And that's what we do in treatment, honestly. We are communicating our expectations to the divine intelligence. And then we are wrapping them with emotion. And filling them full of energy. Oh, there are all those E words. Okay? We need to talk about our expectations. And we need to make a regular spiritual commitment to ourselves to weed our expectations out. And sometimes it would be helpful if we could evolve enough to walk into new experiences with no expectations. I will give you an example. We went to a new restaurant. It's not a new restaurant, just new to us. With no expectations. It's a burger place, okay? So I have all of the burgers that I could have compared it to. But I was like, it's a new experience. I'm also starving. You know what? By checking my expectations at the door, it was a really good meal. So expectations are super important, but we want to make sure that we are working on them regularly, working on ourselves regularly, weeding them out, and occasionally, or more than occasionally, checking our expectations at the door. All right. I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything, because I know me, I will. Oh, getting right on the back of that one. All right. So my second E word is explanation. Because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm explaining my idea of this, right? But again, it can be a double-edged sword. So what is an explanation? A statement that makes something clear. Are we good at this? Yes and no. So when we are looking for explanations, I have two questions for you. Where do you go and who do you go to? Oh, there's another E word, experts. You know what's not an E word? The internet. Did I just say that? Okay, yes, there are experts on the internet. But when you are going for an explanation, double check your sources, especially if you're on the internet. It is an I word. Can everything be explained? No. No, everything can't be explained. Are you okay with that? There's the word. When I was younger, I wasn't okay with that. I wanted everything to be explained to me. I wanted full, in-depth thesis explanations. But I've done a whole lot of spiritual work. Now, don't let me kid you. I still have plenty of spiritual work to do. Spiritual work is something that I do every day. But but I want to leave room for mystery. Everything's not going to be explained. Now, there may be this time somewhere on the other side of this vehicle where everything is explained. I'm old enough now not to not really believe that. It's a nice idea. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with everything not being explained. Because a little mystery makes life less boring. And trust me, I'm an anthropologist. My undergraduate degree is in anthropology. I was an archaeologist. And I do not believe the explanation is aliens. Although I will admit that is one of my, and I'm going to call it a guilty pleasure because sometimes I'm ashamed that I do watch it, but I do watch that show. Ancient Aliens. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of it. Now, why do I watch it? Because they take me to amazing places and show me amazing things that I wouldn't get to see otherwise. But I don't buy their explanations. And it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we need just enough information. Sometimes we need just enough of an explanation to stimulate us to go and find our own answers. So a little explanation can be a good thing. But I also want to remind you that you don't owe anybody an explanation for who you are or how you live your life. Now, there may be some negotiation in that, especially if you have a partner. And I also want to remind you, and thank you, Reverend Marcia, that no is a complete sentence. You do not have to explain no. All right. Now, I know I'm getting towards the end. Oh, yeah, we need to discover on our own. Oh, yeah, I did forget that. No is a complete sentence. Sometimes we give explanations to fill the silence. Now, am I going to be quiet long enough to make it uncomfortable? No. But sometimes that's exactly what it is, especially following the word no. Or, hey, I'm going to go do this. And then somebody's running behind you going, well, why are you going to do that? Are you sure you want to do that? Is this really what? Now, if it's my mother, I might give her a small explanation. Because if I give her a big one, she's going to go, what in the heck have you gotten yourself into? Yeah. Life, Mom. That's what I've gotten myself into. Sometimes we do it because we're uncomfortable. Sometimes we do it, and I'm going to use a word here called justification. Sometimes when we say we're going to go and do something, and then we proceed to justify why we're doing it. Now, let me ask you a question. If you do this, and I know we all do, who are you trying to convince? Because generally, if you're justifying it, the person you're talking to is not the person you're trying to convince. You may be trying to talk yourself into something you don't want to do, or talk yourself out of something you really want to do. The only person you have to explain yourself to is you. And then negotiate with the people that you love. They don't deserve it all. They don't need it all. You get to retain a little bit of mystery. Or a whole lot. You can just be you without explaining for their comfort. All right. I have one more E word. Any guesses as to what E word I might end on? I know at least one person knows because he helped me look it up. That's a good one. That is a good one. But how do you get to enlightenment? Oh, I heard it. You evolve.
Yeah.
Yes. But how do you evolve? You evolve through experience. So my final E word, although I'll probably go back and use a bunch of other E words while I'm talking about experience, is experience. What is experience? I wrote the definition down. What did I say? Practical contact with and observation. Experience. It also encompasses the words exploration, experiment, evolution, enlightenment, because you can't get to experience without that. Now, one of the things I was just talking about, explanation. And Dr. Banerjee was my research and methodology teacher in Holmes Institute, the ministerial school. Did you know that they teach ministerial students in Holmes, in Science of Mind, research and methodology? No. Why would you know that unless you've been? Why would they teach us something like that? Oh, yeah. Especially since I grew up in the not quite Stone Age, maybe in the paper age, when card catalogs were a thing. If you don't know what a card catalog is, go to ask a librarian. They'll be happy to show you. Because there's this thing called the internet, and we do a whole lot of research. Actually, Dr. Banerjee, I can hear him in the back of my head going, "That's not research. That's a literature review." You know what research is? When you have a control and a test subject, and you actually test out a theory, that's research. 9 times out of 10, when people tell you they're doing research, they're not doing research, they're doing a literature review. Yeah, Dr. Banerjee, literature review. It's just a literature review. Because as ministers, we do a whole lot of literature review, and we do a whole lot of it on the internet, and he was quite certain that it was a good idea that we knew how to do this. We also occasionally apply for grants, and it would be a good idea to know how to do that, and that's one of the things they teach you in research and methodology. But then you encountered teachers like Dr. Banerjee. I ended up taking the Upanishads, and the word just popped out of my head, but y'all know it. Basically, the Hindu religion class with him. He was a lot more fun in that class than he was in research methodology. Okay, so some things can't be explained. They can only be experienced. So what is one thing that everybody sounds crazy when they try and explain it? But we all have them, and they actually really push forward in our evolution, our spiritual evolution. That would be a mystical experience. How many of you have had a mystical experience? How many of you have tried to explain it to somebody else? Okay? There is not language to explain a mystical experience. But what we can do is, especially when we meet people that have not had a mystical experience, is we can create the conditions, we can create the environment where they can have their own mystical experience. What is wisdom? It is knowledge applied. They say with age comes wisdom. No. It doesn't come with age, it comes with experience. Now, experience generally comes with age. But one of the things that Science of Mind is known for is we love to read, right? I mean, we've got a bookstore and a library full of books. Jesse uses a new book almost every month. Sometimes he uses 2 or 3 books. I mean, how many books did he have last month? She should know, she put them all in the chat. So, that is all knowledge, or data, or information. How do we get it to be wisdom? We have to go out and do. We have to go out and actually experience the things that we are reading about. We have to literally put ourselves in, well, don't literally put yourself in other people's shoes. Yeah, don't do that. Especially if they wear high heels. Not doing that. But we put ourselves in places where we can have experiences. You can never fully know another person. I think Jesse said one time, even if you talk to a person for a solid week about one particular subject, you would probably only still know 10% of what they know about the subject. That's 90%. So we've got to go out and have those experiences. You know what else comes with experience? Adventure. I love adventure. I think life should be an adventure. Always be an adventure. All right. So, I got this and now it's gone. While we wait for it to come back up. All right. In the Science of Mind textbook, which is why we were looking for it, Holmes has a section called The Need for Spiritual Experience. We need spiritual experience. First-hand knowledge of life and reality. There is no medium between God and people. Nothing between life and living, between heaven and hell, but an idea. But an idea has no real value until it becomes an experience. In conversation, we assume great knowledge of religion, philosophy. But how much do we really experience? We can know only that which we experience. All great religions have taught truth, but it means nothing to us unless it becomes our truth. We need spiritual experience. We shall never know peace until we can embody it. And that is what experience is. That is what the E is. That is how you turn this life into this life. It's not reading the books. It's going out and putting into practice the books. It is about having a regular, dare I say daily, spiritual practice in which you experience the source of your own being. Because here's what I'm going to let you in on a little secret, or maybe it's a big secret, or maybe it's not a secret at all. The point of spiritual practice is to put yourself consciously in the presence of your own being. The presence of the being, the one being that we all share life with, to put you face to face with God. Now the cool thing is there are a wicked, wild, amazing variety of experiences, of spiritual practices. Meditation is one of them. And meditation is the one that makes everybody's eyes roll up in their head. Because I can't sit cross-legged on a pillow and stare at the wall for 3 hours. I can't sit cross-legged on a pillow at all right now, but that's neither here nor there. That's not the only kind of meditation. There's a lady sitting right here in the front row who taught me guided meditations. This lady right here in the pink, I know you guys on camera can't see her, and I'm sorry. But this lady right here in pink is the reason that I'm standing here today. This is my teacher, Lady Pat. She's the one that when I stomped my foot and said, I have to find God, she said, I know this place you can go. Where I learned all of these amazing spiritual practices. Where I took all of these amazing classes and had all these amazing experiences. And finally said yes to the back of my head where it kept saying, you're going to go You're going to be a minister. And I kept going, no, you don't want me. You don't want me. Well, you know what? Yes. God does want you. I read in the daily reading that I do out of Beyond Appearances, the quote was, I think it was from Matthew 6:8. We don't come to be ministered to, we come to minister. Okay, I just paraphrased that. That means absolutely every single one of us is a minister. You get to experience that work. You just may not be aware of it because we come to do that true service in 1,000 subtle ways. That was from yesterday's reading. So, if I'm going to wrap up, what is in an E? Everything and nothing. Exactly what you make of it. Go out and have an experience. Have a mystical experience, a spiritual experience, an awful experience, a wonderful experience, a bad experience. Get all that information and see where it takes you. Everything and nothing. And now, I suppose I should do a closing treatment. What does this look like? I always do the closing treatment. Thank you so much for attending my experiment. And know with me that there is one life, one power, one presence, one love. And each and every one of us are a part of that love. We are divine channels of that love. And so as we walk through this world, having this experience at this time, there are 1,000 subtle ways that we can minister to each other. And so I know that our hearts are open, our minds are open, our eyes are open, that we are guided by that love. And we will always do the best because we will do it from the God heart. And this is what I know about each and every one of you. And I'm grateful for this knowing. And I'm grateful for this teaching. And I'm grateful for this experience. And I'm grateful for the Astros. And I release my word into law, knowing that it is done.
You just needed a bigger stage.
I remember that. And so it is.
And so it is.
We love the fact that you give your time, your energy, your love, and any and all monetary donations. We are so grateful for your gifts. It is because of what you give to us that we can be here and do this for you. And so with that, I invite you now to say with me, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is.
For those of you new in the room and online, our form of prayer is called spiritual mind treatment, sometimes called affirmative prayer. And it's called that because we affirm things. We don't plead or beg. We actually affirm things. And every Sunday, we offer our practitioners who are experienced in this, we offer one online, and the information's in the chat there. And we also offer one in the room. In the room will be practitioner Jim Cantor, and online, he's actually in the room with us today, is going to be Monty Wilson. So with that, just know with me that as we leave today and we take in the wonderful words of Reverend Lisa, who's been talking to us about, among other things, experience, spiritual experience. It's my pleasure, my duty, my honor to claim for each and every one in this room, everyone online, and everyone on this planet that they begin to open their eyes to the wonderful experience that God is. And I claim that as we do this, that this world becomes a much better place for each and every one of us and each and every one on the planet. So this is what I'm claiming in divine law. And because I claim it, I know it's the truth. It is so. And in gratitude, I release it into that divine law, because if I don't release it, it cannot happen. So I release it now. I claim it's good. And I claim it's truly, truly, really good. And I let it go and I say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Say it with me now. Something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in my mind.
I feel it in everything I am.
I feel it in everything I am.
I choose it.
I choose it.
I trust it.
I trust it.
I use it.
I use it.
I experience it.
I experience it.
And I love it.
And I love it.
And so it is.
And so it is.